This is a Ben Frank Connection presentation.
What is going on, everybody? We are live here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. We are doing the first ever live episode of Not Cool in High School Horror. The ABJ presents Not Cool in High School Horror, episode 121, Terrifier, with my bud Courtney. I'm really pumped for this one. I have two people who I wanted to do horror episodes with, and not only am I knocking out today's with one of those people, but I'm also knocking out next week's episode with a mutual friend of ours. But Charles will be on next Tuesday as we do Evil Dead Rises. So I'm really pumped. I'm sure you're going to see Courtney back in the future because we have to do Terrifier 2 and 3, and there's a whole bunch of other horror movies. I have a group of people, like I love pro wrestling, right? So we talk pro wrestling, we talk horror movies, we talk pop culture, and I have a group of people that you're going to see a lot on these pop culture inspired or horror inspired episodes in the future because it's just they're fun to talk with, especially about this topic. So if you are listening to this later on the audio side of things, whether it be Spotify, Google, or all those other platforms, make sure you leave a 5-star review. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, share the stream out to let people know you're watching, because word of mouth is the best way for these platforms to grow. And if you're over on the YouTube side, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are on the quest of 1K subscribers. We just hit 952, which is super exciting. And you can also join our Patreon, or you can join the YouTube channel, has its own platform where you can also do like a membership program to help the podcast stay afloat. Links below for follow me on all social media, as well as ways you can buy merchandise. So Not Cool in High School does have its own t-shirts and hoodies and all that fun stuff. And also support my guest. And while I say support my guest, I want to bring her in right now. So let's bring in my buddy Courtney. What's going on?
Oh, there's a cat butt in the camera.
That's okay. Cat butts are okay. Hairless cat butts are fine on the Not Cool in High School Horror. But yeah, you are kicking off my debut of Not Cool in High School Horror. How do you feel about this? No pressure.
So exciting, let me tell you now. It's great. I'm stoked.
Yeah. Well, you are someone who I love talking pro wrestling with, as well as horror movies, and that's kind of been our niche all the time. Is that's the two things we bonded over, as well as tattooing and art and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I feel like we're like I enjoy hanging out with you and Chris because everything you guys are into, I'm into, and if there's something I'm not familiar with, you two are the ones who like introduced me to it, and I fall in love with it. Like I just feel like anything you guys like, have you guys seen this? I'd be like, if you guys are into it, I'll probably like it. So you're kind of like my gateway drug to everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like, let me guide you to this thing.
So we hung out a couple months ago and we watched together Terrifier 1 and 2 back to back. It was an adventure.
It was. Dude, that was.
I remember. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I'm like, for how excited I was all about it, I'm like, I sure can shine some shit.
But we sat and we watched it, and then we were gonna record it, but just the recording never happened. I was like, oh, we'll eventually get to it, and then life happened, and everything's going crazy for me. But we're finally now able to sit down and do this. But also, not only are we talking about the horror movie aspect, I want to introduce you to the audience so people let you know who they are. So give us a quick little rundown of who you are, even though I know that's probably the most awkward thing for you to do.
It really is. Okay, so who am I? I am me, and this is me. No. Kidding. So I am a local tattoo artist. I go under the handle of Creepsy. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I do for public wise.
Yeah, and you also are going to be in your own horror movie coming up very soon.
Oh yeah, but Backroads, I have that too. That should be really fucking interesting. I can't wait to see like more as it all comes out because yeah, it's pretty intense. It's
So
really
yeah, my first ever episode of the ABJ podcast, I had Drew on, and this was when Backroads 1 was still like in production or trying to find a way to get published, and he was going through all those trials and tribulations as a director, producer, the whole nine. And now he's at a point where, part 1 is out and you can go buy it. Please go do so. And then part 2 is coming out, and you're like the trailer girl. Like you're the main opening trailer scene. You
uh,
set the tone of the movie.
dude, I hope you're all ready for it, dude. It's insane. It's super insane. Yeah, shit was intense. Just like the filming of it too. I got a little concussion the first day. Like, dude, it's pretty intense. But like, just filming that though with Flans, I was just like, all right, here we go. We're gonna wrestle, and then if I tap, we're done. Like, there's safe words and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty intense because I basically like had a method act with what I was doing. So yeah.
Now, as someone who's have you ever done any acting before, or just like a lifelong horror fan? Then you were like, I'll be in a horror movie. How to like?
Oh, I did like a little commercial with them for Pilger. And I was like, yeah, no, this is cool. So after that, I was like, oh, if you ever need anything, let me know. Shoot.
Yeah, they let you know.
It was intense. It was fun though. Overall, it was a lot of freaking fun. I had food coloring in my ear for months after that, even though I used like peroxide and everything to clean my ear out. I thought I was dying for a little bit. I was like, I have a brain bleed. I have a brain bleed.
Jesus. Now, after doing your own scene and being in a horror movie, and spoiler alert, I'm guess you guys can read between the lines. Courtney doesn't last long in the movie. You can kind of tell by the trailer as well. When you go back and now watch horror movies, especially one that we're going to talk about here in Terrifier, do you look at the scenes and be like, "Oh man, I wonder what going through that. I wonder how they did it, or how they shot that, or like do you look at it from a different side of the lens now?"
Yeah, wholeheartedly. Like, just like the experience of things and where you kind of have to put your mind and like your mindset. It's totally all over the place, and for like how intense they go with their scenes and whatnot. Yeah, I could have probably used like a therapy session after the fact, but I was good.
Yeah, independent horror, they go for it.
Yeah, they sure do. No, just kidding. But
Now, did you see part 1 of Backroad before agreeing to part 2?
no, no, no.
That might have been your bad. That might have been.
Yeah, I went into it completely like, this is fine. They're my friends. This will be okay. No, like brutally murdered, and I had to like fight for my life.
Yeah.
So it's no. It was an experience, that's for freaking sure. But no, like the after fact of it or the aftermath or whatever, like, yeah, there's some mad respect for people who do this for a living and whatnot. And just like I said, like the mindsets that you have to put yourself in is like, it's intense. It's so intense. Kind of disassociate, honestly. So I could see where people get stuck in being like those creepy antagonists, or like, I guess you could say like a Joker character, how you're just gone.
Yeah. Well, you do have to disassociate yourself in these scenes and in this industry, especially in the movie we're going to watch today, because Terrifier is something else. I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown, courtesy of IMDb. So Terrifier was a 2016 American slasher film that was written and directed by Damien Leone. The film stars Jenna I don't know why I always do this to myself. I'm not going to say who they are because they're all actors who we probably don't know or anything like that, because that's how it goes down. And I suck at reading names. But the plot centers around these two girls, sisters, who become targets of this serial killer, only known as Art the Clown, on Halloween night. The film is centered on Art the Clown, and it's a second feature-length film to include the character after the anthology series All Hallows Eve, the fourth and fifth installment overall, following two short films of an anthology installments. in the Terrifier franchise. Leone wrote this film specifically in the means of showcasing the character art and his practical special effects work, such as the controversial hacksaw death scene. Leone expressed a regret for leaving the protagonist underdeveloped. Leone filmed Terrifier on a low budget of $35,000, and he had an Indigo campaign, although it ultimately did not reach its goal. So this movie we're watching was done on $35K, which is bonkers to me because it looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, like I like the old grainy, how everything looks super old the way it was filmed.
Yeah.
But also when this was filmed was what, like 2018, 2016, 18.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it has that old aspect to it, older filmed aspect, I guess. I don't know. I like it. I like how it's filmed.
Yeah. Written, directed, and produced pretty much all by Damien. It was produced by Epic Pictures Group, distributed by Dread Central Presents. Its release dates were October 15th, 2016, and then and that was more of like a film festival, I believe, and then it released worldwide, United States, March 15th, 2018. It runs for 86 minutes, which is like an hour and 20-ish around there. It's not a long watch. It is United States English film. Budget was $35,000 to $55,000, and it made in the box office $416,000. I don't know why I can't talk right now, but yeah, for 35 to make almost $500,000, that's a good day. And I think this is like, you look back at like this movie, or you look back at old Evil Deads or those independent films where you're like, this, like the people who did the practical special effects, they took a pay cut to do this because the special effects in this were pretty good for being low budget.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like that's one thing I will say about like Backroad. If you go back and watch Backroad 1, it's disturbing because it looks real. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's it, there's some parts you're watching like, what? You know what I mean? And Terrifier definitely lends to that as well. Going into this, you are more, I don't know anything about art. I don't know anything about these anthology films. I don't know anything about the other films that this character has been in, where you can shed a little more of that light on. I'm coming in just from, here's Terrifier, everyone's talking about it, and I turn it on. So give us a little bit of backstory, what you know of Art the Clown, or maybe this anthology, where he comes from.
So I know I'm like, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
There's a rabbit hole to go down. Like there's meat and potatoes to this Art the Clown.
Right? Yeah. So because I take things and I go off with them. So, because I know I was like telling you, I'm like, okay, there's all these things that happen that you have to like figure them out to make this make sense. And then it'll lead up to the second one and whatever. But so, what was it? Hallows Eve. And this kid gets a weird VHS in his trick-or-treat bag. Babysitter pops it in, and whoop, there's a first thing of art. I do believe he's in a subway, something of the sort. But yeah, so that's like one of the first ones that like the clown is seen. But I do believe in Hallows Eve there's like a couple different little videos that he's in all of them. So in an odd sense, it's like the ninth circle? I always want to say the ninth gate or something of the sort, the ninth something. But he's in that. But that's where you kind of get an inkling or like an idea, or just like, is he this? So because the devil, he might be like not a devil's advocate, but like he works for the devil. Is
like a demon? This might be a demonish character.
Yeah, so you don't know. So that's like one of those things that I'm like, okay, so is he a demon? Does he work for the devil? Does he do the devil's dirty work? Is he a devil's henchman? That was the word I was looking for. Or is he his own person? Because then in just the first movie, you just have this guy who's after some ladies with a sack.
The interesting thing is a guy, Mike Giannelli, who portrayed the prior incarnations of Art, and he retired from acting before the production began on the Terrifier film, and he was replaced and Thornton replaced him, the actor who plays Terrifier, Art the Clown, and then he steps in to fill in as the new Art going into this film. And What a blessing. No offense to the original guy, but this guy who takes over Art the Clown is he makes that character and turns it to 11 with the facial expressions, and because he doesn't talk, he's essentially a clown and a mime. He doesn't speak a word, he doesn't say anything. It's all facial expressions and just movements that make him creepy. And he after one film, people are already stapling this guy as a horror franchise icon.
Right. I feel like it's more because his movements are, and he stays there, and you're just like, are you gonna move? Is this real? And then, psh,
Yeah, and he's at you. Yeah,
right. Versus like that slow run that you're just waiting, or like a quick jump scare that's always like, bah, and he's there. But no, instead you get the and then
yeah.
some.
He almost lends you into a false security of like, I think I'm okay. Maybe he's just like, because like the idea of a clown is they're creepy, but they're essentially historically there to entertain. They're not going to harm you. They're just there to freak you out or scare you or be joyful. And then you kind of don't know if Art is that part, if he is a killer, or if he's just trying to make you feel uncomfortable. And then by the time you realize that it's too, by the time you realize who he is, it's too late. You're dead. You know what I mean? Like, or and he kind of toys with you as well. So when I watch horror movies or anything like that, I like to, in my head, develop like a character sheet. You're like, well, who is Art the Clown? What does he have? Does he have superpowers? And as this movie goes on, me and you were kind of making a character sheet for Art of like, all right, this is kind of his MO. This is what he uses. This is how he does things. Is he an instant killer? Does he toy with his food? Does like, you're like, you know what I mean? Like all of the, but every time you think you understand Art, he changes. He flips it on its head.
Right. Like, what was it? Okay, so a bicycle horn, a syringe full of something, or just a syringe, and what was the other one? There's like three main things that he basically uses. Can't say a gun, but that was a shitty way to.
Yeah. He does have a gun, and knives, kniving sharp objects, if anything that could be used in a stabbing. But also he does blunt stuff too, where like he hit a guy with like a blunt object as well, where it's like a hammer or a tank or something. But we'll get into that. But let's actually start the movie. So spoiler alert before we get anything. There is spoilers throughout all of this. We are going to break down the film. I'm still trying to find myself when it comes to these pop culture reviews. If horror is not your thing, I just did the Ninja Turtles movie. I just did the Blink-182 album where I cried like a baby. Not fully. I mean, I had to take 2 takes on it. But yeah, so there's a lot of pop culture inspired stuff coming soon. But so that's kind of, we're still trying to find ourselves of how we're going to do this. But I will be breaking down the movie, not essentially scene by scene, but giving a little bit of intake on how we perceived it in that point. But the movie starts with Terrifier on this thing, and it's a TV screen, and Art's kind of walking around, but you don't fully see him, and he's kind of getting his bag of treats ready. And it's a survivor on TV, and they're saying how she was the survivor of this crazy incident that happened. And it, spoiler alert once again, it kind of gives away the entire movie in the beginning scene, because they say like she survived, this clown that harmed everybody and killed everybody was then killed, but they don't know where his body is. Like he escaped the morgue, and she's like, he's dead, I watched him die. And then they cut to the scene of like Art smashing the TV, and that's essentially how the movie starts. But you don't know any of this information, so you have no idea what they're talking about. But after the movie's done, it's kind of like that aha moment of like, wow, they just told you everything in the beginning. Pineapple Express. This Is the End did that, where James Franco essentially tells you how the movie's going to end in a scene where he's pitching a movie in the party scene. Yeah. So sometimes movies do this where they kind of tip their hat a little too hard. But yeah, so then it cuts back to the TV host is backstage, and she is talking to someone on the phone, and she's kind of shitting on her guest because her face is deformed. She's very badly injured, just came out of a coma. She's not visually appealing to look at because what she's been through. And this girl's kind of insensitive of like, yeah, I cashed in on this tragedy. She looks like a real freak. My views and my numbers are going to go sky high, and like kind of like making fun of her. But there keeps like a noise behind her, and she keeps like looking back, but nothing's there. And then eventually she gets off the phone and she's attacked by the guest, the girl, attacks her, rips her face apart, gouges her eyes out, and it cuts to a really deformed face, kind of like hers is, and then it cuts away. So we don't know if she's dead or not, or if she just deformed her, but we're already starting the movie of like, okay, the girl who survived is now a killer. Where does this clown come in?
You're just like, is she going to get revenge somehow? Is this movie about her? And then, well, oh, no.
So just take that and throw it away.
It didn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We just open the movie with it, and yeah, we're gonna let you stew on that one. Because the first time you're watching it, you're like, I don't get what the fuck was that even about.
And the crazy thing was too, like her face was really similar, I think, to something that was in Hallows Eve too. Like if it was something with, again, just another like meep. So they definitely things from this other movie into Terrifier. But it makes sense of how low budget it was though too.
Yeah, it kind of looks like remember that Momo thing that was scaring everybody? It had like a Momo look to it, and then it had like a one eye that was like the other eye was gone, and it was really weird looking and creepy looking. So yes, now we're into the movie itself. It is Halloween, and these two girls are dressed up, and they're walking home from a party, and they're hammered, they're drunk, and they're heading back to their car, and they're arguing of who is going to drive, but they're both not capable of driving. They're hammered. So the girl goes, yo, why don't we just go to like a diner or go get something to eat, sober up a little bit, and figure things out. As they are talking about that, Art the clown is kind of walking down the street, and just they happen to bump into him. The blonde in the movie, I don't remember characters' names. I suck, so maybe you can fill in. I just remember them as the blonde-haired girl and the dark-haired girl. I thought the dark-haired girl was very pretty. She looked like a young Nev Campbell. Like she reminded me of Nev Campbell.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. The blonde's talking shit, starting trouble with Art. They argue a little bit, and then they turn back to look where Art is, and he's gone. And they proceed their night, and they go to a pizza shop. Anything you want to add here before we get any further?
When they're in the diner, what does she do? That's when she sits on him. She like takes a
picture
and then sits on.
Yeah, so they're kind of in the diner. It seems so the timeline of this movie, you have to kind of in your brain kind of figure out in your if because it all happens so fast, so you have to kind of in your brain think, well, the time has passed, right? So they've walked to the diner. They were settled in the diner for a while. They relaxed. You know, the one girl went to the bathroom while the other girl's sitting there waiting. But as she's sitting there waiting, Art comes in and sits at the table and just stares at her, like, and just kind of like smiles and waves and acts weird. The blonde comes back, and the girl's like, hey, let's get the hell out of here. This guy's creeping me out. She's like, I'm not going anywhere. So she goes over, how you were saying, sits on his lap, snaps his hat into his face, like takes a selfie with him, and just acts disrespectful. Like, even if he's not a freaky clown, just to go up to some random person while you're drunk and act like that, you're already pissing people off.
Yeah, it's not, it doesn't make for good things there. But yeah, no. So what? Right after, everyone dies, just about. Well, not them.
Yeah,
but yeah,
they don't die just yet. They get their food. They get their food, and as they're getting their food, Art goes to the back where the bathroom is. They get their food and they leave.
Blah. Yeah, and he makes Art all right. He just wipes shit all over the wall.
Oh, actually, that's not how it goes down. The guy kicks him out of the bathroom, but they don't know exactly what happened in the bathroom. They just know that they kicked him out of the bathroom because something creepy happened after he gave her like a ring from the coin machine. So he gives her a ring, goes to the bathroom. He gets kicked out. They eat their food and they go about their day. They don't know where Art is, where Art went, or anything about Art. They don't even know what he did in the bathroom. Right. And it just shows them kind of walking back to their car, but they cut back to the bathroom scene, and he has smeared fecal matter everywhere. Writes his name in it, the whole nine. Yeah. He is the guy gets tasked of cleaning it. When he's cleaning it, he is pissed, and he tells his boss that he better get more money for this, and his boss isn't answering him. He goes back out, and his boss is essentially decapitated and is now posed like a pumpkin. He has candles in his eyes, or his head's on fire, or whatever it may be.
Wait.
Art then attacks this guy, kills both of the guys at the pizza shop. But if I'm not mistaken, he kills him a certain way. Hold on, I have it written down because this is like the first time you really get to see him kill. Oh yeah, he gouges his face out a lot. He goes for the eyes, which seems to be a thing. That's one of the recurring things. If he has access to your throat, he's gonna choke you. He always tries to gouge your eyes out. It's another Art move. If anything, that kind of goes throughout the rest of this movie. That's kind of what he does. But then he stabs the guy like a lot, like just. And there's no sense of where or how he's stabbing you, but it's like face, it's chest, it's anything he can get it into. He's just gonna he's gonna cause mayhem.
He's straight overkill on everything.
Yeah,
But,
and it's
like,
no grunting, no signs of struggle, no like, yeah,
but
it's
almost like after he does things, he's just like, good job.
yeah. He's like propping himself up because once again he doesn't talk, so he kind of just does like a his body language speaks more than he does.
Right, like I guess you can. I don't want to do it, but I guess you could say that you can compare it to like how Mike Myers like tips himself sometimes, where he just, turns his
The
head.
head nod, yeah.
So
Yeah, there is a lot of Easter eggs are like homages to other horror movie characters through art. Like you do get the Jason of the brutality. You get the Michael Myers with the slow head turn and the
Right.
confusion almost. And then you get the Freddy of like the humor. Without him speaking, he has that Freddy like doesn't take him serious, kind of like toying with his victim, kind of like Freddy does. Like Freddy's in a different realm because you're kind of in Freddy's world, so he knows he's in control. Art feels that you're in his world and he can do whatever he wants. Like he has no fear or repercussions of anything around him. He's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Right. I don't know, but that's the fun things are like, is he human? Is he something like paranormal? Is it psychological? It's like everyone has art in their head. Like, I don't know. So that was like the fun parts of like trying to figure out who the heck Art is and where this clown came from.
Yeah. So as of right now, when you're watching it, I'm in the boat of he's a normal human. Like I don't get any paranormal aspect to him yet.
Right, because like at the beginning though too, it's like when it shows him getting ready, he's human acting, like he's putting his mask on, like he's getting ready for out for Halloween or whatever. So it does it leads you up, I'd say, like to believe that he is human at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just some deranged dude on Halloween night who's just gonna go out and cause problems.
Right, and then again, like the whole thing with Halloween. Well, yeah. So far, like we know, he's a Hallows Eve type of guy, or Halloween to go out right now.
The thinning of the veil.
Right.
Yeah, spooky. So yeah, the girls are now walking back to their car. As they're walking back to the car, they go to get in and drive, and their tire's flat. They didn't say it was slashed, it was just flat. And they just assumed that something happened. They don't really put two and two together. While they're sitting in the car waiting, she's like, listen, I have to use the bathroom. And the blonde hair girl's more like, just pee, just open the door and pee. And she's more like, I'm not doing that. That's weird. I'm not just gonna pee on the sidewalk. And the blonde's just like, yo, the blonde hair girl's like a girl from the Skook. She's like, yo, live your life. Nobody cares. It's 2 a.m. Just go piss in the building. No one's even gonna know you're around. And the other girl's kind of like, I'm not doing that. So she sees this guy, like a maintenance guy, come out of a building, and she goes and asks to use the bathroom. He then takes her to the bathroom, and you find out he's an exterminator who's there to kill a rat-infested building. While this is going down, the blonde's in the car. She has the radio turned on, and she hears about the brutal murders that just happened at the pizza shop they were at, and that the suspect is at large. And I don't know how they put this together, but the guy who escaped the scene is in a clown costume, white and black. So she starts going through her phone because now she is sobered up, and she realizes, oh my God, I think I took a picture with this guy. So she looks through her phone, sees it. The car door opens, and she assumes it's her friend. She goes, you're never going to believe this. The camera turns. Art's in the passenger seat.
Right? So, yeah, I don't know. He's stalking them. So that's
Yeah.
like, that's like another thing that you notice with him too. Like as this progresses, is like he's more after the females or whatever, I'd say, rather than besides the pizza shop.
Yeah. The pizza shop was essentially he's trying to make people uncomfortable. He succeeds. I don't still get the poop wall thing, but mission accomplished, I guess. But essentially he like his it seems like his target is these two girls now, and whoever is in the way is going to be
Right?
a victim of circumstances.
It just takes out whatever.
Yeah. Because like when you watch a horror movie, you kind of develop those game plans or those rules of a horror movie. Also during this scene too, this is where the girl calls her sister and says, "Hey, we're stranded. Can you come?" So while they're waiting for the sister to come, that's when she goes in to use the bathroom. And now her friend is kidnapped. Or at least we know we kidnapped or dead. Art has her. We don't know. The camera cuts away. So she gets done using the bathroom. She hears a cat. And she starts exploring. So she starts exploring this building, and the exterminator can't really see or hear anything. He has headphones in. He's smoking cigarettes or maybe a joint. Who knows? But he's cleaning and doing what he has to do. So she starts walking around the building and stumbles across what I like to call the crazy cat lady. She living in like the alley or the basement. She has a doll that she's calling her daughter, but it's clearly a doll.
Right.
She's not 100% there. Now, the crazy thing about this is the girl who meets her, the girl with the darker hair, the Nev Campbell looking girl, she's very sweet about it. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I live in the building. I'm going to go talk to the landlord. You have a great night. I'll be right." Like she doesn't just treat her like she's a problem, or like she's not like, "You're creeping me out, lady," and makes fun of her. She's actually handles it very sweetly. Like, oh, okay, she living in a world, in a different world than reality. I'll kind of play into that, so I'm not rude or be disrespectful. And I'm gonna go tell her I'm gonna go talk to the landlord because I have to pay my rent. And she kind of ventures away from the crazy cat lady.
She's like, bye. Yeah, that scene was again another one that makes you think. We're like, okay, but again, it just other leading up with other things. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what my brain's always at with these movies. Like, I want to figure it out. I'm not thinking about, like, I'm always about the gore and then just trying to figure things out. I'm like, where is it? Who is this cat lady? What is she doing? Why?
She has to have a bigger meaning.
Yeah, there's a bigger meaning behind this baby doll. There has to be. Yeah.
Nope. Spoiler alert. Most of the things in this movie is just how can we put humans in these scenes so we can do cool death scenes. Yeah. Spoiler alert.
For their meeting, like in the little, like, I guess, basement scene, corridor scene, or whatever. That was again another scene that was used from
One of the earlier projects. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe the Hallows Eve stuff is all on YouTube. If you really want to go back and watch it before you watch Terrifier, or if you've seen Terrifier, maybe going back and watching the other director's work is kind of cool. I think so. Like, hey, I like this podcast. I want to go listen to other episodes because I enjoy it that much, So go give All Hallows Eve some love. So she starts walking back where she came from, to go back towards the front door, to go back outside to the car. And as she does, she sees Art, and Art is covered in blood. So you just assume the worst at this point, and maybe it's blood from the girl, maybe it's blood from the pizza shop guys. This girl is unaware of anything. She has no idea that this clown just killed two guys at the pizza shop. She just knows that guy freaked her out, and now he's covered in blood and he's staring at her. And that's where he's like, how you were saying before, he's paused. He doesn't move, and he's just smiling, and he's not doing anything. And then he does the old school black and white. He charges. Which is the most animation you get at that point from Art, when it comes to these two girls. Yeah, so that's kind of like one of the first interactions where you see him kind of like pause, and it's a prolonged, they don't know what to do. Should I run? What's happening? And then he lunges. Yeah, so now she runs, they're trying to escape, and there's a lot of hiding around or underneath or next to cars this entire movie. Hiding next to cars is like, this one garage is getting all the love in this movie. Everything happens in this garage. A lot of scenes are shot in this garage. So she's in this, but this is like more of an outdoor garage right now, not the indoor garage. So there's like two different spots where a bunch of cars are parked. She's outside, I believe, in this one, but she's hiding behind cars, and she can see him kind of looking for her, searching for her, and he's kind of like toying. You don't really know, like it almost like she has tricked him. She is hidden, and he doesn't know where he is. And then all of a sudden, she doesn't make any noise. She doesn't give herself up, and he just snaps and looks directly at her. So now you're thinking to yourself in your character sheet, did he know the whole time? And was he playing with her, or did he just randomly know that she's there?
He was sniffing.
That's what, yeah, he does. He sniffs the air.
Sniffing. So that's like one of those other things too. So you're like, if you pick up on that, and he has a very long, you know, like it's a very prominent schnoz too. So,
but is it his nose, or is it part of the mask?
I don't know. I'm gonna say it's his nose. I wouldn't. That looks. I don't know.
Because like he kind of has like the Papa thing, right? So when you see Art, you see that he has eye holes of a mask, and you see underneath the mask that there's something there, and then the nose and the chin look like they're part of a mask.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, you're right. I don't know. It just looks like a perfect big. But he does in that scene, like right before he turns at her, he sniffs. So I'm just like, okay, all right. Do you have like, is your superpower sniffing? Like, can you just, and then you smell them? Like,
yeah,
you know,
he's like he's very primal, which I don't know how he's smelling anything because he's covered in blood and his own shit on his hands from the pizza shop.
I just keep picturing that scene and it's so gross.
Here's my big fear, right? So this entire time, Art, when he grabs you, he's grabbing at your face, and his gloves are literally covered. He didn't go wash his hands. He's not. So you probably smell Art before you see him, like, right? That's a safe bet.
Even his costume is just like,
looks gross,
stinky. Like and his little butt. I wouldn't have been surprised if you just seen a stain there the whole time.
Yeah, like he doesn't look. He's not a cleanly guy. There's nothing about Art where he's like, I'm gonna wash my hands right now. You know what I mean? Like, yikes. So they have a little bit of a scuffle. And he could easily kill her at any point in this thing. Like, he's just handled grown men. Not saying that because she's a woman, she can't be killed as easy. But statistically in horror movies, the dudes, he just bodied two dudes in a pizza shop that were big Italian Brock dudes. You know what I mean? Like, these two girls have no shot. So she kind of struggles. He stabs her a couple times, I believe in the leg or the calf muscle or something on her leg where she's not 100% mobile.
Right. I think it's her leg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she fights him off, like she hits him, and he goes down. He takes pain, like he's in the pro wrestling term, he sells. He gets hurt, so he can take damage. And then there's another scene where she's hiding again, and she doesn't know where to go, and she's kind of like scuffling around trying to find out what she's gonna do. She goes back to the exterminator to be like, "Yo, this shit's crazy." Actually, no, I'm sorry. While she cuts away again after she kind of escapes and goes back into hiding, and while she's hiding, she hears the radio, and the radio is now informing her that there's been 2 murders, and we don't know where this guy is, and sorry, it cuts to the sister driving to her. Right. So now the sister driving to the scene now hears where she's going around that area. 2 people were killed in a pizza shop, and it's by this creepy clown. And she's like, well, that's kind of where I'm going. So now the sister's informed that this clown is no good. Yeah, so she's now trying. So she goes back to hold on, I'm just trying to make sure I got this right, because there's 2 scenes that kind of that I got blurred together here. While I'm figuring this out, is there anything at this point that you're like with Art or anything that's going on?
I just the poop crap on the just like it's but yeah, at this point you almost just start thinking like, is he just screwing with them, or
yeah,
because the scene like leading up to where this is, then you're like, is he sympathetic towards, what was it, the brunette at this point? Because
she didn't really do anything to disrespect him. She was creeped out by him, and he knew that she's creeped out. So he already feels like he's won mentally with her. And everyone else was kind of like, yo, get out of here, you weirdo, or like mess with him. And the people who mess with him, he just seems like, so far as we think, brutally killed them right away. Where this girl, he kind of cat and mouses with.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And the scene like leading up to where we are right now, what's he do? He just knocks her out, and then it's like, whoop.
Well, yeah, so that's she goes back up to the exterminator and she's screaming at him. He has headphones in, he can't hear her. And as he's about to turn, Art pops up behind her, grabs her, needle in the neck, knocks her out, and takes her. And I think it cuts away at that point. But
yeah, I don't. It just makes it like, yeah, it does at that point. It just makes you wonder. Then it's like, all right, is he just? He's just. This is the story now.
yeah, it's so he's, like I said, a lot of flash kills, and now he's drugging her so he can pretty much take her back downstairs to where we find out when she comes to. Now you have to think time has passed here. It's not like she doesn't instantly wake up after being hypodermic needle in the neck with whatever it was. She wakes up and he's toying with her. He's like acting like he's gonna hit her and trying to scare her and doing all this, and she's duct taped to a wooden chair. She then turns. I'm gonna try to do as best I can so I don't get demonetized right away on YouTube. But he unveils a cloth to finding her friend, essentially nude with just underwear, hung up by her ankles, legs spread, and she's not in good spots. You know what I mean? He has a handsaw, and he takes the handsaw, and we'll just say he starts in the middle of her legs and cuts to the forehead. And it's essentially, at first it cuts away and you're like, oh, okay, they're just gonna like insinuate this is happening. And then the camera cuts back and it's pretty graphic. And he cuts, like we said, from the middle of her crotch to her forehead. Now this is where people are like, is he paranormal? Does he have super strength because he gets it done pretty quick? Or is it just the way they shot it where she's just like, it probably took a while, but the way in her brain it happened so fast, and the way they shot it, you don't know if it's real time or just like sped up for the artistic aspect of it. You know what I mean? But he does get stuck in the head and he doesn't complete the full cut. And then while he's doing this, she breaks out. She snaps one of the arms off the chair. She gets her other arm free. As she's getting her ankles done, at this point, Art is walking over to her. She hits Art with the arm of the chair that still has the wood to it, knocking him out again. And trying to see here. Yeah, so she breaks free and then she picks up a knife and stabs him in the back and runs away. But when she stabs him, he screams, like he emotes the scream, but doesn't make any noise. But once again, he shows, at least to her and the audience, that he took damage again, that you can hurt this guy.
Right.
So you're like, maybe still human. So now she's back to hiding in this garage where you're going to see her hide in all the time. He sneaks up and he's looking around. He's doing the sniffing again, and he thinks he has her figured out. She sneaks up behind him, and she just starts beating the dog shit out of him with a board. Now, at this point, she's like, yo, I just watched you saw my best friend in half. She's like, fight or flight. She's not hiding anymore. She knows she has to finish this dude. And she beats him down. Like she puts a beating on him.
Yeah. So with that.
Yeah. Now she goes up to finish him off. Like he's down and she's looking at him and she has that look like you are done. And she goes to go up and finish him off. And he just pulls a gun out of nowhere and shoots her.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The end of like when that happened, we're just like, he did not just do that. He did not.
Yeah, because usually when the killer has his weapon of choice, it's usually slasher films. They never use guns.
No, I know. And it's almost just like, what? Is that okay? Did he?
Yeah, did he just break the rules? You're not allowed to do that. You're cheating.
You either have to like bite somebody or stab him with a kitchen knife. You don't just pull a gun. Who just pulls a gun? Like,
that's fucking cheating.
Do this.
Lily says, I still want to know if the actual mask is made from someone else's face. That's a possibility. Yeah. Because he kind of looks like the mask it may be sewn to his head. I don't know. It's weird because he has the hood thing too. Like he has the white hood that's almost like a bodysuit It's a lot.
Like nylon.
Sierra says the movies remind me of a knockoff version of Halloween, the whole sister family thing. Yes, there is a family element to it. Yeah, definitely.
Right, but
Now,
that's like the second one, kind of.
yeah,
I get
yeah.
the best friends, the sisters, or whatever too. So definitely, but also I'm like, if I could just talk more on the second one, then it would make
Tell
sense.
me what's happening.
Do it. I can't do it.
So as the gunshot goes off, it cuts back to the cat lady who hears the screams and the cries and everything. She runs back to the exterminator. And then it cuts back to her being like the bullet holes in her face. Like he shoots her and she's like the bullet holes in her face and the whole nine. And he goes to shoot her again and he's out of bullets.
Mhm.
So then, but she's still alive, but she can't move. Like she got hit somewhere where she can't move, and there's a bullet in her face, so she's like almost like a paralyzed state.
Right.
And as this is going down, he goes back to his bag to look for, I guess, another clip full of bullets, and he's putting it in the gun thing, and he's about to leave. And as this is happening, the phone he takes her phone, and the phone goes off, and it's the sister. So he texts the sister, my friend's sick, come around the back of the building. So Art now lures the sister to the party. Now as she's walking around, Art reloads the gun, sees the text, tell her to come to the back. And as he's walking back to the girl he just shot, he walks past the girl who's cut in half, and as an homage to the pizza shop, he takes a selfie with her, with the phone and her dead body. Crazy cat lady goes to the exterminator and says, yo, there's dead bodies in your basement. You need to go help them. She's trying to explain to him that there's something wrong. He just sees her as this crazy lady because she's not good at conveying what she means, because she does look a little like homely. We'll just say like homeless and not mentally stable. Maybe has some mental health issues. But as this is going, like they kind of fight, and he pushes her to the ground, like, leave me alone, lady, I'm at it. And he like walks away because he's freaked out. He thinks he's alone in this building. And now one random girl shows up, and now this crazy cat lady saying there's people dead in the basement. And he's like, I'm just here to kill rats. I don't give a shit about any of this.
Right.
Yeah. And as he's walking to maybe investigate or see what's going down, Art sneaks up behind him and hits him with a hammer. And as he hits him with the hammer, before he hits him with the hammer, he calls his boss or somebody that he works with, and he's like, bro, this is crazy here. Something's going nuts. I don't know what's going on. He turns, gets hit with the hammer, the phone drops, and Art destroys the phone, and now this guy's dead on the staircase. Or we're meant to believe he is.
Right.
The crazy cat lady goes back to where she was, and her baby's gone. Baby's disappeared. She's going to look for the baby. She hears the jingle of the baby. The doll makes like a lullaby noise. When she finds it, Art has the baby. He's holding it. He's messing with her with the I'm trying to make the baby go to sleep type deal. So they kind of go back and forth, and she's kind of like, is there any good in you? Are you evil? Do you just need a mother's touch? And like she allows Art allows her to touch him, and then like she like nestles him in and like kind of holds him, and it just kind of cuts away. It's like a really wholesome moment where she's holding the baby, and he starts sucking on his bloody shit thumb.
So those scenes and those moments are so like, they're disturbing in that sense though too, because again you're like, all right, so does he have mommy issues? Was he, hurt as a child?
Yeah, so you think, is this a weakness? Does he have like a weakness here? Did she just unlock something that could possibly be Art's downfall? So yeah. So now this is going down. The sister's trying to walk around the building, which I guess takes forever. As this is happening, the other exterminator guy is now showing up because his friend just stopped talking to him on the phone. So he I think we might have skipped something here. No, we're still good.
Right, I'm like, he tries to find the key to the back door, and then the door's locked.
And then he remembers there's one on the mat. So then he goes into the front door. So the sister's now in Also in this scene happened before when he reloads the gun, he gets all the bullets. I forgot about this part. He walks back up to the girl who now you're mentally thinking is like the end girl, right? Like she's still alive. She got shot. She's going to find a way out of this. And he just finishes her off. He unloads the rest of the clip on her. The girl you're thinking is the ride or die till the end is now gone. So now you're like, oh my God. So everyone from so now you have an exterminator that's now at the scene, the cat lady that he was just cuddling with, and now this new now the sister or the new three players of the movie essentially. Yeah. So she comes in and the sister immediately finds she hears a scream or she hears some kind of noise and she goes to investigate. Now, most people would say, why would you go investigate that? You're in a creepy basement. Her sister's there and she wants to find her sister and she's been drinking. So she's going to play the right big sister and she's going to do the right thing and go do and look for her. She comes across the sawed off girl. She's freaked the fuck out. She sees her first dead body, not having a good time. She comes back around the corner and she sees she sees a body on the ground which resembles her sister. Real quick, we're gonna do that. We're gonna put Matthew. I have to put you in timeout, brother. You're getting a little nutty. Matthew's a good kid, but he says some weird things in the comments sometimes. So we're gonna give him a little quick timeout. Yeah. So yeah, so she sees what looks like her sister. She hears a noise. She turns. It's the cat lady, and she's essentially skinned from her chest above her belly button up to her head. And as she sees that, Art comes out wearing her, the cat lady, and
his little lady moment.
Yeah, he has a little lady moment. Yeah. So she runs. And there's like a little bit of a struggle there, the whole nine. She runs up and she hides in like a closet type thing. And then as she's hiding, Art is like walking, like he has this like T-Rex arm walk.
Nice voluptuous shadow.
Yeah. So Art's completely naked essentially, wearing somebody else's skin, and he's just having a blast at this point. Like he's in his moment.
He's got legs.
He goes to the room, the only room where he knows she can go, because I guess he has this building pretty scouted out at this point. And he knows she's in the closet because she's essentially putting a show out in front of this closet. And she's like, does he think I'm in here? And you have that horror movie shot where she's looking through the hole and eventually he disappears and then pops up in the hole. And she's holding the door shut. They're struggling. He's having a blast. He's enjoying himself. He's laughing without making noise. And as this is going down, he hears a horn blow of like the guy outside who's like beeping the horn so his buddy inside can hear him so he can let him in, and then realizes when the horn's blowing, he just scatters because now he knows somebody else is there and he knows that she's freaked out. She's easy pickings, I guess, for his thing. He's going down to take care of the other problem in the building. Yeah, since he's worn her skin, he has no problems wearing other people. Yeah.
Maybe that could spin back to where his mask came from.
Another person.
Yeah. Never know.
Yeah, so this guy now finds the key. He's in, and as he's walking through, he finds bloody shoe prints, and he sees the baby doll. He sees blood everywhere. He's like, "What the fuck is happening?" Art wastes no time with this guy. So this is another male figure that he gets and immediately kills. Is there like a TV or something in the background? It's kind of bleeding through.
For me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh no, I think I'm echoing through you. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh.
All right, I'm gonna try something real quick. Hold on. You're good. I think I can fix it on my end.
Okay.
Let's try that. Check.
Mike.
It's a little better. So yeah, he grabs the guy from behind, stabs him in the top of the head, knife, decapitation. Takes the head, kicks it down the thing. That guy is checked out of the game. That guy is in and out of this story as quickly as he shows up.
I was gonna say,
what's
for
that?
as long as it's in back roads.
That's the timer. How long the second exterminator lasts, and is it longer than Courtney in Back Road 2? We'll find out. as this is happening, the girl eventually works up the courage to get out of the closet, run down. She goes to a door. It's clearly locked. And Art is riding around on a bicycle. Just creepy as fuck. Like a clown on a little bicycle. Weird. He rides around, kind of letting her know that he knows she's there without looking at her, and then goes back down another hallway so she can like go escape. Spoiler, she goes to the same garage everyone else has been hiding in this whole movie, and she's hiding behind cars.
It's a popular place.
There you go. Maybe a little tip to Saw there. It's very possible.
Remember? Yeah. Yeah, I could like tell. Yeah, I see it. I see it.
Mm-hmm. So she's sneaking around. She's trying to figure out where she's going to go. She's hearing moans. She's hearing groans from other people who may or may not be alive anymore. She's freaking out. And as she's kind of like figuring her next step, plastic bag goes over her face and Art's choking her out. And that's probably one of the scariest things because like that's not instantaneous and you're trying to go for your air. I don't want that in my life. She eventually, and we're kind of watching it going, just fucking rip the mouth open.
Just poke it.
Yeah, and she does. She rips it open. And when she does, Art kind of like humorously grabs the bag and goes, "Oh yeah, and he makes like a joke, miming, and she finds something on the ground like a screwdriver or something and stabs it in Art's foot. Art sells it again. She gets to run away, and as she runs away, he just flips her off. Humor again from Art.
He's the loudest silent clown ever. Mime clown.
Yeah. Now, still to this point, are you still in the he's a human aspect? I am. I'm like, this guy is just a normal dude. Like, nothing about this dude is paranormal. Like, I think he definitely plays with the females more than he does males. Like, he kills the males quicker, and females he kind of cat and mouse toys with.
Right. I'd say at that point, like, he's feral. So I guess you could say, like, in how he sniffs people out, or like that I just noticed that he was sniffing the air. It couldn't have been. It could have just been like, oh, he's sniffing the air. It's just added to that scene. But yeah, no, he's definitely still very feral and still very human.
Mm-hmm.
He has the emotions, and he has the like, when he gets hurt, he gets hurt. So
we think, because even though he got stabbed in the foot before, he got hit with boards, he never limps or shows damage while he's walking.
Right.
So it cuts back to the staircase, and the exterminator, as I guess, is coming to from getting hit in the head with a hammer. He's still alive. The first exterminator, not the decapitated one, the first one, who calls his buddy. And as this is happening, the other girl she finds a room where her sister had her sister's body has been propped up, wrapped with Christmas lights, and she has a circus sign on him. And you're saying that's another callback to the other franchises.
Yeah. So that little circus sign was definitely used in the Hallows Eve, and I think, if I don't mix these up right now, I think he's on the side of the road holding the sign that says circus.
Yeah, I think I've seen the photo.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So there's so many little things, but then yeah, that circus sign is on her chair. It's on her chair. It's near her chair. It's across her waist. Like it's on the chair with her. Look at me going. I'm like, it's there. It's there.
Yeah. It was on her though. Yeah.
I'm acting like I didn't watch this. No.
So Art sneaks up and he has like a whip, like a nine-tails whip, and he just starts whipping her up. And it's like pairs of scissors and any sharp objects that he can cut her up with, and he's just lighting her up with this cat of nine tails.
Dude, that's the other thing too with this. There's no let up on anything. Like, if you were just looking for just some gore aspect, just maybe to get yourself queasy, like, perfect. If you don't really don't need or want like a plot, it's great. It's fair.
Yeah, there's really no plot. It's just random people in a house and they come across this creepy clown. But everything we're talking about, like these death scenes, it's not like the horror movie where it cuts away or you see the blood splatter or something. Like, they have those too, but it immediately goes back and shows you like the wounds and the special effects aspects.
It's red. Just red.
Yeah.
Red everywhere. Yeah. Every other freaking 5 minutes, it's something.
So he's beating her down with his whip, and it looks like it's over for her. Insert Exterminator 1, and he knocks out Art the Clown, saves the girl, calls 911. They get to a different room. They barricade themselves in, and he calls 911. And he goes, listen, there's this crazy dude here. Like, he's a clown, the whole nine. Now, the dispatcher knows what happened at the pizza shop. in between sections, I'm just gonna hit mute on you so that doesn't bleed through. And then and then I'll bring you back in. Just so maybe next time we'll try headphones or something, but that might help a little bit better. I tried on my end, but I couldn't fix it. But yeah, so he calls 911 and he essentially says to 911, like, yo, we're not staying here because if you guys don't get here in time, he's going to kill other people and we're not safe where we are. So I need to get the hell out of here. We're going to get her to a hospital, but you guys need to bring the cops here because this guy's here and he's hurt and he's knocked out in the room. But if he comes to, he's a problem. And then they go to leave. Anything from that, as they go to leave, they're stuck in this hallway. The only door out is barricaded with a chain. And as they're trying to figure it out, Art comes back with like a tank. He hits the guy in the back with the tank and he essentially is like hitting him in the head. And then he just reverts to stomping his head till the head's gone. He essentially stomps the head out, which is kind of now, is Art stronger than normal because he stomped a head out till it was gone? Like, that can't be an easy thing to do.
Maybe.
That was my first indication of, well, maybe he has some type of strength. You know what I mean?
I've done this before. I've maybe curved down a person in my life. No, I'm just kidding. I have not. I have not. Yeah, no.
So as she's stomping, this guy's getting stomped out. She has like a stick. She starts banging at the locks. The locks break. As the locks break and she goes to get out, Art grabs her. The stick breaks, but she has the other half, and she stabs Art in the eye or the face with it. She's able to escape. She crawls through like another door that's chained, but it's enough that she can fit through, but Art can't. And then Art kind of like, she thinks she's safe for a second. Art grabs her through the chain, rips out her hair, and he's kind of messing with her through the door because he knows he can't get to her. And he's like honking a horn at her. That's when he's honking the horn at her. And yeah, and she's trying to figure out exactly what she's gonna do. She's searching around, she's trying to find a way out. She's panicking, she thinks she's not safe, like she has no idea what she's gonna do at this point. And as she's trying to figure that out, she hears cops. She hears the sirens. They're on their way, they're very close. She could hear them. So she goes to peek back out the door. As she does, Art says, haha, you're there. And he comes flying up in the truck. He barrels through the door. The doors go flying open. She gets hit with the truck. Not fully, but enough to knock her out. He gets out of the truck and he's just leaning over her body. And you don't really know what's going on yet. Cops pull in. They come rushing through the thing. They have their guns drawn, telling him to show themselves. And he's eating her face. So he has ripped apart her face and he's eating it. Now, the whole time we're saying to ourselves is he has really bloody teeth and his mouth's really always covered in blood. Is he also a cannibal? And that was something we talked about while we were watching it, because we're dissecting every inch of this movie. And now he is eating her face. He's straight Florida man. Yeah.
Right. But his teeth, that was like another weird thing too, because they definitely don't human. And that's like one of his big things too. So is he a demon? Is he a demon? He doesn't have long teeth. I mean, I don't know. That was just one of those other little thoughts too about like his mouth in general, and just how the structure.
It's a yuck mouth, but it's like also bloody. Like it's always bloody.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he's eating rats. Maybe he's eating whatever he can find to scavenge, or is he eating humans? Maybe so now because he has been eating this girl's face.
Right, because I know, like, when we got to that part, too, we're just like, okay, so now is he also this other thing? Is he cannibal, too? Is what he does? Does he eat people? Like you're saying? Because that was, when we got to that point, we're like, okay, what else? What else does he do? Or is he going?
So as the cops have him essentially surrounded, and they're saying, show us your hand, show us your hand. He's reaching down to his leg. And the cops notice this and like, show us your hand, show us your hand. He spins around and he pulls out a gun that he had hidden on his leg. And instead of pointing at the cops, he puts it in his mouth and he unalives himself. I'm not going to, he kills himself. At the end of the day, we're talking horror movies. We said so much crazy stuff. If I get terms of service because of that, I'll accept it. He takes his own life. And the cops are like, what the fuck is going on? And as they're checking the clown, they're like, yeah, this is the guy we're looking for. And there's like, yo, she's still alive. So then it kind of cuts away. there's like a little bit of like that, oh my god, the movie's over scene. And Art's body's now taken to the local coroner. His body's taken there. The exterminator that he stomped his head in has been taken there. And they're like, yo, we have more bodies coming. This place is filled with bodies, so you're gonna have more showing up. The guy's like, all right, man, you guys gonna go get me a sandwich or something? I'm gonna be here all night because it's like all these bodies are coming in. And there's a little bit of a dialogue about like, I've been doing this job for 30 years. I've seen dead bodies all the time. And he goes to like, he looks at the first body, he looks at Art's, and Art's is like staring at him. He's like, that's fucking weird. And as that goes on, all the lights start flickering, the phone's going off, all the radio's going crazy. So there's some type of paranormal thing happening where all the lights are flickering and this is all going down. He goes to turn to look. When he looks back, Art lunges at him and starts gouging at his eyes again.
Poo paws.
Yeah. And the guy can't just knock him off. Like Art he's locked in. He can't, no, actually he goes for the throat. He's choking him. But Art doesn't have leverage. Like this guy's standing up, Art's laying down. So there is some super strength to this because he can't break free from this choke.
Right. So like when the lights and everything's all flickering, is like, okay, was that the indicator of like he has powers now and then he rises?
Yeah, because he clearly shot, like you see when they show his body, like he has a hole in the back of his head, his brains are coming out, his eyes missing.
Clearly
he's dead.
Yeah, he was not a thing. So again, now it's like now is he a demon? Is he paranormal?
But I mean, he did shoot this other girl with a full clip and she survived because the bullet hole entries were really small. So maybe he survived his own shot.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's the indicator of like the flashing lights, the woo.
Yeah, it gave him that in to get his spookiness in.
Right, and then he's alive again. So like another, what I mean, like from like Halloween stuff like that happens, and all of a sudden, whoop, he's alive. Yeah. So it's just like, maybe is he going to be kind of like the now version of Mike Myers in a sense? Like, I don't know. That's my brain was going though with all those scenes. But again, I don't know. He just got
nobody knows. We have no idea what to expect here. We just watched a gore fest with somewhat of a story attached to it. Now, the creepy thing about this is when the exterminator was calling 911, the girl who's surviving at this point, the sister, she has like this moment where she's kind of like in a trance and like she's like twitching a little bit and like going a little crazy. And you're like, all right, she's she just going, is she processing all the stuff that she experienced? And maybe I'm reading into it too much. But after all that happens and everything goes down, you end up finding out that the girl in the beginning that has her face destroyed is the survivor. It is the sister. The parents are now taking her out of the hospital. She is woken up from her coma. She's gone through everything she can go through, her surgeries and whatever it may be. And they are taking her to her TV show appearance to talk about what happened to her years before. And that's kind of where the movie ends. And that is the end of Terrifier. So the girl who survives the night of Terrifier is now awoken from her coma. And she's going to the TV appearance, what you see in the beginning, where now she's also a killer. And they just end it there. So is Art the Clown alive? Why did the girl who survived Art then kill someone else? And is Art a human or some type of paranormal entity? Will we know? Who knows? The best way to experience it is you'll get all your answers in Terrifier 2, right? No, you don't.
No. Like I said, I chalked that one up. I was like, oh, you gotta watch this one. It's so amazing. You're just like, yeah. And then all these other things, and I'm like, okay, so this and this and this add up to this. There's a lot. It's messy.
Yeah. So as a movie, did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? And what are some things you liked about it? And what are maybe some things you didn't like about it?
As a whole, I mean, I thought it was great for the gore aspect. It's just nonstop. It's a killing spree for no reason. No real story plot. Like, if you just are a fan of the gore and like the kill scene aspects, wonderful. It's great. Now, on the other half, I guess I'm like a 50-50 because I also like to overthink and I love plots and I love a storyline. I didn't get any of that. There was nothing. It was just it's a bowl of jelly beans and I don't know what's I have no idea. But if you like the gore aspect, like if you like super gory things, and a kill scene like every 5 to 10 minutes, like yeah, it's great.
You're never going to be bored.
No.
Yeah.
So,
You're never going to get your answers. You're never going to find anything out or learn about this character. But the practical special effects are fantastic. Like for a $35,000 budget movie, I think it's worth your time and support just to see what they were able to accomplish with that budget because it's impressive.
Yeah. I like it. So many people like fell in love with this clown too.
Yeah, so that maybe, I mean, there's got to be something to the, maybe she's possessed or maybe she just had a real fucked up night, but like, it's weird. It's definitely strange. Yeah. So I enjoyed the movie, even though I got no story, no plot, none of it made sense. But from the killing standpoint, the idea of Art the Clown, of what he was able to do, with the way he was able to captivate you as a character, the way his facial expressions and the way he conducted himself, like Terrifier, in just an hour and 20 minutes, had enough spark that people were like, yo, can we get a part 2 and learn more about this? Can we get more of Art? Because the guy who plays Art is just like, once again, he's a horror icon from just an hour and 20 minutes. Like people are putting him up there with Freddy and Jason and all these other great people. It's pretty impressive that they were able to accomplish that. Like that, you hit the horror movie jackpot that people want your character. And we will go on to talk about Terrifier 2 at a very future date. But at the end of it, I mean, I still think it's definitely worth your time. If we can go seek out Terrifier, go do that. If gore and extreme blood and violence is not your style movie, Terrifier is not for you.
No. Like no, it's.
And also if like sexual abuse, because it's not full blown sexual abuse, but like the fact that he cuts her from the crotch to her, like it could be triggering. Like that scene could not be great for you. And he does target women, and he doesn't really do that's probably the only sexualized thing he does the whole movie, but it's enough that I would definitely throw out there to somebody, like if you watched it or if you haven't watched it, be careful with that scene, because that could be something that could be jarring. But the entire movie is jarring. Like it's definitely something that if it's not your cup of tea, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you do like horror movies and you want to experience it, I would recommend Terrifier.
Definitely. And I'm like, I don't know. There's always some sort of female at some point in time getting taken out in a horror movie. So I'm like, it's to be expected. Maybe not that graphic, but again.
Where do you lie with the, like, I know the one female speaking in the room is not the answer for every female in the room.
Oh, yeah.
We have some females watching, but how do you dissociate when that's in a movie and not just the killing aspect? Because that is a huge trigger for people in horror movies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm just like desensitized to it, that I'm like, I'm always expecting some sort of like scene or like risque or anything. Like there might be boobs out and then this lady dies. Like it just, I don't know. It's just a normalcy in horror, since
horror and boobs have to be a thing, right? Like you have to have at least one set.
but I also see where like people are over that too, where they're like, why do we have to do that now? So I'm like, I'm an in between. So I mean, like, I enjoy it, but then at the same time I'm like, we could also do without, some lady bits and pieces.
Do you think the idea of the sexual assault in a movie is scarier than the actual like torturing and maybe like the murder scene itself? Like for example, if you watch Last House on the Left, that whole movie is essentially a revenge movie because of what they did to her. And it is insanely graphic, insanely crazy, but it sets the tone for the movie of why she went so hard in the paint to get her revenge. But like, if it kind of happens and it's kind of like a pointless scene because he kills her anyway, like, I don't know, it's hard to depict. But this is also some things that happen in real life in these horrible situations, so it's tough to kind of differentiate the two.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, stuff happens in real life, and most of these stories, horror stories, are based off of like true events. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, like, if for people who may have experienced really shitty things, like, I'd say like the psychological stuff more is it's not okay. Like, it hurts your brain more. Or like, if you, like I said, experience some of those things, it might trigger those somatic emotional releases that you're like, I can't do this, versus like a quick kill.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
It's tough. It's a hard thing to navigate in the horror community.
the psychological stuff is worse. Like, to watch somebody go through some mental stuff and or get tortured slowly, like a Hostel bit, like, yeah, I'd say maybe we could, like, maybe one movie doesn't need to have that, just one. But no, I'd say the psychological stuff, like, it's I don't know, it cuts deeper than a knife.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So kind of close out here, just to kind of learn a little bit more about you on that aspect. That echo's getting louder. I don't even know how. Is your speaker really turned up loud? Maybe turn it down here if you could still hear me. I don't want to like mute you, but maybe that'll help a little bit. I hate that I'm muting you because I don't want, like, I feel like I'm like, wait your turn to talk, Courtney.
No, oh god, you can hear me now. I was just literally
Yeah.
mad words. Can you? Is it better?
We'll see. Check.
Checky.
It's a little better. Next time we're putting headphones in, yeah, we'll figure this
yeah,
out because you're definitely coming back. We're doing more of these. We'll
I tried doing
fine tune it.
iPad, so I'm just like eating the camera and then going away, and then it's kind of in its own box.
Yeah.
Maybe it was echoing from the box.
Oh, you're inside the box is where it was echoing.
Was that it?
That was
that
definitely it. Yeah.
I messed up.
Yeah, we'll fine tune it. We'll fine tune it. It's growing pains. This is how we both learn. But when it comes to horror movies, and because you and Charles are definitely people I want to have on here more frequently to talk horror, because you're my two favorite horror people of all time. Where do you lie? Where do you lie on horror movies? Like, what genre is your go-to? What type of horror do you latch onto or see yourself watching more of?
That's a good question. Suspense. Definitely suspenseful. I don't know. Things that aren't real. I don't know. I'm like, I could totally just keep rambling and jambling and going down a big spiral of things.
Well, what are some of your favorite movies? Like, if you said like you had your 3 desert island horror movies you're gonna take with you.
Oh no, that's really hard. Be like all the Day of the Deads and all those movies. No, I don't know. Honestly, one of my comfort movies, and it's so stupid, I could go to sleep watching it any day, is The Ring.
Okay.
Because it's the blue gray, and how everything's just like weird, and you see weird little things,
and most of the movies very like monotone until until the kill. But I could definitely see that.
Like I super enjoyed that. And then what was another one? Oh my god, there's just so many. And then when I am like put on the spot, I'm like, oh my god, I have to tell you a movie that I really like, and I can't.
So Ring. So do you like more ghost paranormal?
I guess you could say.
And then you also have some Day of the Dead, so you like zombie as well.
Yeah, I like it all. I like everything. Like, if you could make me think, like Saw movies, I love them. I love to think. I love thinking and trying to figure stuff out, but then I also like the jump factor.
Sierra says The Conjuring is her go-to-sleep movie.
Ooh,
Conjuring. I like those movies, but I don't like the Warrens. I think the Warrens were con artists, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
I know. But she was such a sweet little old lady.
No, she wasn't. She was a con artist. Goddamn. She's a goddamn carny. We can get rid of this little banner there.
Pretty. I don't know. What would yours be like if you could nail it down? Could you?
I really like slasher. I love slasher movies. I also like Zombie movies are a lot of fun for me, but I do also enjoy the mindfuck ones. So like I haven't seen Hereditary. I want to see Hereditary, but like Midsummer and The Babadook and It Follows and those like Sixth Sense or The Visit, those ones were like you're like trying to pay attention to figure out what you're gonna get next. Like regardless of what people say of M. Night Shyamalan movies, like they're good for that first watch because then once you find out the twist, you're like, oh, okay, it's hard to recapture that again, that feeling. Like my favorite horror movie, I love the original Halloween. And I'm probably going to say this 100 times in this podcast because every time I have a guest, we'll probably talk about this. But the original Halloween is up there for me, and probably my favorite franchise is Scream, because the first time as a kid you watch Scream, you'll never get that feeling back. Like it's a high you'll never get. Like that. Oh my god, who done it? There's two of them. What the hell? Like it was the boyfriend. I knew it. You know what I mean? Like that was a cool experience. Like Scream is like one of my favorites of all time. But then every time you watch Scream again, you're like, oh, dude, they were wearing the boots at that. They were wearing the silly. Like you know what I mean?
Right. Like pick up on little things.
Yeah.
I love
showing up on YouTube to say Insidious is my favorite calm me down movie. Insidious calms you down. I'm not judging. Do your thing, boo. Yeah, I like those movies. I'm definitely. I also like monster movies. I love a good monster film. I love when there's like a creature or a beast or something, and then usually 9 times out of 10 they show it, and then I hate it. like the Universal monsters. I love the Universal monsters. I love Frankenstein. I love werewolf, Dracula. Like those creatures are just another one for me. I really like.
Right, the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. Except like that, what was it? The Shape of Water. Did you see that one? Where it's like the creature from the Black Lagoon, but like the lady starts banging it.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm watching, I'm like, she's gonna be one of those.
They had like a
creatures.
tea party or something.
Yeah, crazy.
There was a scene.
So if people want to support or find you or let you stab them yourself, where can they contact you?
Nowhere. No, just kidding. On my Facebook. So if I'm on Facebook, I have a website. What is my website? It's creepsytattoo.com. It's either tattoo or tattoos. I always forget because of that S.
Creepsytattoos.com.
Oh, look it. I put the S on it. All right. That's my website.
But, and how is your bookings right now when it comes to tattoos? Are you super busy? Is there open spots that people can hit you up to get some ink?
I have some openings for May, definitely open for June. Weekends are stretching to July, but there's some Fridays in between there.
You're working very hard. I remember seeing you start off as a tattooer and then seeing you like a year or 2 years later and your growth and seeing your development. Like as a person, Courtney, I genuinely love being around you and Chris. I think you're like, you guys are like soul food for me. Like when I'm really down and I'm bummed, like I hang out with you guys for the day and I think it's a Collins thing. It's the Collins and the females they put themselves around, because the Collin boys are smart people. And they put themselves around really, really amazing women, and you can never go wrong. I hang out with Eddie and Courtney. I hang out with you and Chris. I hang out with Keith and his wife. You guys are just comfort food, and I love being around all of you. It's such a great family, and you guys are just all amazing people. And I'm very thankful that we got to record Terrifier and talk about horrible things.
I know, all the horrible things. And me being all like nervous Nilly at first. I'm like, I have to go on live and do this thing.
I knew you were gonna be nervous your first time, but we're gonna keep doing this, and you're gonna keep ironing it out, and we're gonna fucking nail this.
It's fun. I won't play with the end of my hair or like be careful that my cat's butt's gonna be in the picture. She's literally.
Cat butts are great.
Where is she? She's somewhere over here. She's literally up. There she is.
There she is.
She's my most
Sierra says, I hope you guys do this again. I'm 100% in for it. So yes, Sierra, I do a lot of interviews. I have a lot of I'm going to be doing more local interviews with people coming up very soon. I do a lot of pro wrestling content. So this Sunday we'll be reviewing WrestleMania 1. On Tuesday, I'll have Charles Moran on as we talk Evil Dead Rises and his horror movie, his horror business, Horror Prince. He makes amazing art prints. I have a really, really, really cool Exorcist one. Then on Thursday, I'll be interviewing Dante Elizabeth James, which is a TikTok sensation, 611,000 followers. They are so entertaining. Go watch their content. They're fucking sweethearts. And then on Sunday, we'll be doing the history of Dusty Rhodes leading into WrestleMania on coming up. And then sometime next week, already recorded, I'll give you guys the scoop. So if you like real life spookiness, my buddy Mark Storrs of the Kryptonaut podcast will be on the podcast, and we're going to be talking about all things spooky, paranormal, Bigfoots, cryptids, the whole nine. Did you know there's actual stories out there of people who have experienced, as I'm trying to remove it, experienced real life Muppets?
Like,
yeah, like the Count from Sesame Street walks out of your closet and speaks to you. Tell me that's not the scariest fucking thing. And not just one person experienced it, thousands.
Okay.
It's a thing. It's a real thing. People have experienced Muppets in our real world. Good luck sleeping, everyone.
I'm like, I'm going to end up going down like a little rabbit hole tonight of looking up terrorizing Muppets, because I thought you were going to say
podcast about it. The Kryptonaut podcast. Go listen to it. They do an amazing. If you like hearing real, like they do the Mothmans, they do the paranormal, but they do stories that aren't really known, but they do it a fantastic job. Go support the Kryptonaut podcast. I can't wait for you guys to hear the episode with Mark, but fantastic podcast. They're out of the New York area, but so much great content coming up. We do have some other horror movies on the horizon. We have Barbarian coming up. We have Lighthouse, but I know isn't full horror. We have Meg. We have Black Phone, Saw. We have a lot of cool stuff coming, as well as other movies like Big Trouble in Little China. We have a Taylor Swift album review coming. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but I want to be turned on to new forms of culture and art and artists. So if someone is passionate about it and wants to come on the podcast and do it, I'm down for the episode. We have Harry Potter coming up. We're doing a Harry Potter episode. So there's a lot of fun things. If you're not into pro wrestling, we will scratch that itch when it comes to movies, music, video games, comic books, and horror as well. All right. Anything in closing, Courtney, you want to say before we get out of here?
I'm like, I don't know. No.
You did great.
Thanks. I tried my best. Next time will be better, because I just, I won't put my words. It's really exciting. This is exciting. I'm excited.
Well, thank you for helping me start this journey with the horror movie episodes. And I cannot wait to have you come back and do Terrifier 2. But without a movie being put on you like Terrifier, what would be a horror movie you would like to cover? Like a movie you're like, you're gonna lock it in and no one else allowed to have it, as if you're saying it right now.
I guess it wouldn't be it's like suspenseful. I don't know.
I'm with it.
I don't know if it would fall under like complete horror, but it's a thinker. And my girls that I had in, my college students, like whatever, they're like, Court, we're gonna put this movie on and you're gonna watch it. And I'm like, okay, I've watched it 3 times now, and I would love just to discuss things. And it's called Butt Boy.
Butt Boy.
Yes. It's uncomfortable, and it makes you think, and things go missing, and people go missing, and then you're just left with
always a challenge, Courtney. Butt Boy. Hold on.
Yes.
A 2020 American film. The premise is Chip Gutschell, an IT specialist recovering from alcohol, develops a compulsive behavior after a routine rectal exam, where anything he inserts into his anus mysteriously disappears. His obsession escalates, leading into the disappearance of small objects, pets, and eventually people. Detective Russell Fox becomes suspicious of Chip's involvement and investigates the mysterious disappearances. While Chip struggles to keep his secret hidden, the tension builds as detectives get closer to the truth, culminating in a climactic confrontation that relieves the extent of Chip's compulsion. So it's like Teeth but butts. Have you ever seen Teeth?
Yes, I have seen Teeth, but she's nice to some people. These people and things and just stuff, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna say or whatever, but they might have a chance, they might not have a chance. Like,
all right, well, after Terrifier 2 is wrapped, Butt Boy's on the list. Do your homework, everybody. Go out there and watch Butt Boy and get ready for Courtney's another appearance for Courtney. And watch Terrifier 2 because we're going to be covering that very soon. Probably sometime in April, we'll have Courtney back for Terrifier 2.
That'd be fantastic. Then I can spit all the things because the first one I'm like, okay, we had the kills, we had no plot, and we had the gore. And then when the second one happened,
and you kind of have like an idea now where I'm kind of going with the scene by scene. So maybe even if you're like, you take a scene, I take a scene, and go back and forth, and we kind of go through the whole movie.
That'll work.
That'll work. We're still finding ourselves. And maybe 10 episodes, we completely scrap scene by scene breakdowns and we just do something else. I don't know. It's still early. It's in developmental stages. And thank you guys so much for hanging through that developmental stage and hanging out with this podcast. It means a lot.
Yeah. Thanks for struggling with me. No, I'm just kidding. That was so much fun. We did it.
Yeah. We did it. We nailed it. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Like I said, I will be live again on Sunday where me and BP will be covering WrestleMania 1 review. And then Charles will be on Tuesday. We'll be doing a Not Cool in High School Horror once again for Evil Dead Rises. So go watch Evil Dead Rises before Tuesday, and you can come and join the chat. If it's your first time, head over to YouTube. Type in Anthony Blackwell Jr. or ABJ Podcast. Help me with a subscribe. Tell your friends this podcast exists. I'm just a dude from School County, Pennsylvania, just trying to chase a dream. Like I said, we talk all fun things, and we have a lot more stuff coming. I have another show that's coming very soon that Chris is going to be episode 1 of, Blazing Buds. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But we'll see you guys next time. Here's some music by another Collins boy. Well, he's not technically Colin last name, but he's part of the family. Here's the Converse kid, Billy Trey.
Ooh.
Thanks for watching this presentation. Like, share, and subscribe for more.